An historic day on the campaign trail for Vice President Kamala Harris, who was joined by longtime Republican former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who urged voters to put country over party. The two leaders from opposite sides of the aisle have joined forces to defeat Donald Trump, saying he is unfit to be president and should never be near the Oval Office again.
John Finelio is in the KTLA News Center with more on the historic alliance and what it could mean in the race for the White House. John.
Sharon, Micah, former Congresswoman Liz Cheney once described Kamala Harris as a radical liberal, but not anymore. She now describes Trump as a threat to democracy who cannot be trusted with power. With just weeks before the election in a swing state likely to be won by a razor's edge, Cheney is urging undecided voters to unify behind Harris as the candidate who will uphold law and order.
She was once one of the most conservative members of Congress.
In this election, putting patriotism ahead of partisanship is not an aspiration. It is our duty.
But now former Republican Representative Liz Cheney is campaigning for Vice President Kamala Harris.
I tell you, I have never voted for a Democrat. But this year, I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Cheney and Harris appearing together in Ripon, Wisconsin, the town considered the birthplace of the modern Republican Party. Cheney, the daughter of former GOP Vice President Dick Cheney, was the third-ranking Republican in the House. But after the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, she became the lead Republican on the House committee that investigated the insurrection and former President Trump's role in it, a position that saw her ousted from her party and replaced by a Trump loyalist.
Donald Trump was willing to sacrifice our Capitol to allow law enforcement officers to be beaten and brutalized in his name and to violate the law and the Constitution in order to seize power for himself.
Their appearance, an effort to win over undecided GOP and independent voters in the battleground state that President Biden won by less than 21,000 votes in 2020.
Liz Cheney really is a leader who puts country above party and above self, a true patriot, and it is my profound honor to have your support.
Rock legend Bruce Springsteen also endorsing Harris with a similar warning.
Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in my lifetime.
Former President Trump campaigning on the economy in Michigan, another crucial swing state.
Over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris has unleashed nothing but chaos and suffering for American labor with historic inflation.
While continuing to push false claims that he won the 2020 election.
We won. We did win. It was a rigged election.
His comments coming one day after a federal judge unsealed a redacted court filing from special counsel Jack Smith, who presented new evidence of Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, arguing Trump resorted to crimes to try and stay in office and that he was acting as a private candidate, not the president, in his attempts to cling to power.
Former First Lady Melania Trump is breaking from conservatives and defending abortion rights in her upcoming memoir. She released a promotional video on X today saying there was, quote, no room for compromise on a woman's right to individual freedom. Former President Trump has long boasted his 3 Supreme Court picks helped overturn Roe v. Wade. He insists abortion should be left to the states. In an interview with Fox News tonight, Trump said he told his wife before her book was published, quote, you have to write what you believe. Back to you.
John, thank you.